Hi everyone and welcome back to InsideTech. In today's video we'll be checking out a lesser known but very promising product, the SoundBox Pro wireless speaker. I will be doing a free giveaway of this speaker, so do make sure to stick around to the end of the video for more details on how to enter. This Bluetooth speaker is the bigger, louder and more robust successor to the SoundBox, boasting extra bass, stereo pairing and compatibility with Amazon's Echo Dot. In this review I'll be covering the speaker's design, all of its features and of course audio quality. Let's take a look. First of all, I'll actually be unboxing two of these speakers since these are able to pair together for stereo playback, and I'll give a demonstration of how this works later in the video. Included in the box is a detailed quick start guide, the speaker itself, and then underneath two cables. The first of which is a standard auxiliary or audio in cable for wired listening, and the second is a micro USB cable for charging the device. Looking at the speaker itself, you can see we have a really clean and simple design, with a front-facing speaker grille surrounded by an LED light strip. The metal grille protects a built-in microphone, and also two 10-watt drivers together providing 20-watt stereo sound, which for a speaker of this size is pretty impressive. The SoundBox Pro does have a good weight to it, at 634 grams, but because of its size is still fairly compact and portable. The body is made up of a smooth silicone rubber to give the speaker a robust and durable quality. The SoundBox Pro is pretty rugged, certainly able to withstand a few knocks or drops, and it does also come with an IPX5 water resistance rating, allowing for protection against jets of water. On the top surface we have 7 clicky and tactile buttons for our controls, including volume adjustment, speaker pairing, the lighting mode and extra bass mode, with the play-pause button doubling up as the Bluetooth function button. At either side we have some textured surfaces to provide extra grip, whilst at the rear we have a central passive radiator for venting that extra bass. A rubber-sealed compartment hides the charging and audio in ports, a reset button, and something you really don't see too often, a micro SD card slot. So you can also play music directly from the speaker itself with music stored on the card. Unfortunately, there is no option to shuffle playback here, so your audio will only play in the order that your tracks were loaded onto the SD card. Immediately, it's impossible not to draw design comparisons to the Sony XB40, a speaker I've actually previously featured on this channel, although in terms of size the SoundBox Pro is more comparable to the smaller XB20. Still, the build quality here is excellent. The onboard controls are very responsive, and the overall design feels a lot more premium than in a lot of Bluetooth speakers in this price range. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the SoundBox Pro is able to pair with a second speaker for stereo playback, and we do get LEDs to indicate the left and right audio channels. The pairing process can be a little fiddly, since you are sometimes required to reconnect to the audio source after the two speakers have paired, but once you're up and running, the experience is very good. One of the SoundBox Pro's strengths lies in the connectivity during stereo pairing. The audio and even the lighting effect remained perfectly synchronized across both speakers, and there weren't any issues using either speaker to control the audio playback. The speakers do pair to your device with a master and slave configuration, but what was great to see is that this didn't seem to affect controlling playback whatsoever, as both speakers were equally responsive. The inclusion of the audio in port not only means that you can have playback through a wired connection, but also means that you can connect the SoundBox Pro directly to an Echo device. Obviously, devices like the Echo Plus or the Sonos One do have fantastic built-in speakers, but for those using something like the Echo Dot, plugging this into an external speaker like the SoundBox Pro is going to give a massive improvement in audio quality, and of course this feature does extend to many other devices aside from the Echo products. If you are using a Bluetooth connection for playback however, the SoundBox Pro offers Bluetooth 4.2, so we don't have the latest Bluetooth 5.0, but 4.2 is still a very good standard, and the speaker offered a wireless range well over 60 feet. In terms of battery life, DOS claims the speaker will provide 12 hours of wireless playback, and during testing at 50% volume and with the lighting effects turned on, I was reaching just short of this figure. Another nice feature is that I was able to track the remaining battery percentage on both iOS and Android. During playback, the LED strip is set to cycle through 6 colours by default. You also get the option to fix the LEDs to a specific colour, turn off the flashing effect, or simply turn the lights off altogether to save on battery. The LEDs produce bright and vivid colours, and the lighting effect definitely does add to the experience. But like with many Bluetooth speakers with LED lighting, I wouldn't say that the lights pulsate perfectly in time with the music. I'd also say that the flash frequency is a little too high, so the LEDs look almost as though they're faulty, rather than intentionally pulsating along with the music. So for this reason I tend to let the lights cycle through on the solid light mode. Just like the XB40, the speakers have a button on top to enable extra bass, but after activating this mode, I actually found that there was a drop in audio quality. I'd even say that in a blind test scenario, I would have guessed that the extra bass was active when the feature was turned off. The sound is definitely richer and more bassy with the extra bass turned off, almost as though the speaker has been accidentally configured the wrong way round. Still, it's easy to just ignore this feature since the audio quality is still very good with a decent amount of bass with the feature turned off, and a pair of these speakers playing together did sound particularly impressive. What I like most about the bass here is that there's enough to give the audio a full-bodied sound, but the speaker doesn't boom or overpower the mids or highs. This gives a much more pleasant and relaxed listening experience, especially at lower volumes. Too often with bass-heavy speakers, the bass overpowers the vocals, and this ends up being all that you can hear. The only way to compensate for this is to turn the volume up to high levels, which isn't always practical, so it's refreshing to see a speaker catering for casual listening too. If you do want to crank the volume up though, the speaker can get pretty loud, and the audio remains stable at maximum volume with minimal distortion. The speaker's strengths lie in instrument detail and vocals, which are particularly distinctive and crisp. At max volume though, I did find the treble to be a little overemphasized, and the speaker's handling of the higher end frequencies is probably the weakest aspect. Occasionally, sharp S sounds would break through, which can be quite harsh to listen to. Operating in a more traditional volume range though, the SoundBox Pro's audio quality exceeds expectations of a speaker in this price range. I'll now play a couple of audio samples just to give you an idea of how the speaker sounds. Remember that recording the audio through my microphones and played through your speakers isn't going to give a true representation of the audio quality, but as always, listening through headphones is highly recommended. Overall, DOS have surprised me with just how much quality the SoundBox Pro is packing. It's easily one of the best sounding Bluetooth speakers of its size, and certainly one of the better options as an indoor use speaker. Against its competitors, it is lacking in functionality. For example, there is no NFC, multi-device pairing, or the option to pair more than two speakers together at the same time. Where it does succeed though is in build and audio quality, competing with the likes of the Sony XB20 or the JBL Flip 4, but at a fraction of the price. If you're looking for a budget-friendly, premium quality Bluetooth speaker, but don't necessarily need the loudest or the most bass-heavy speaker on the market, the DOS SoundBox Pro is definitely a great way to go. Now, as I said at the start of the video, I am doing a giveaway of this speaker. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber to the channel, leave an interesting comment down below, and I'll announce the winner as soon as my next video goes live, so do stay tuned for that. That's it for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.